of Republicans of talking about the Epstein files, they're so scared that they literally are calling Jack Smith, the distinguished federal prosecutor who secured multiple indictments against Donald Trump with multiple felony counts. I demand this committee, this chairman, and Republicans to call an immediate hearing asking why the Department of Justice is refusing to release 99% of the Epstein files and why the DOJ is violating the law right now.
Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu from California is here with me now. He's a veteran. Congressman, it's quite an allegation you opened there, and we have been certainly calling for all of the Epstein files to be released on this show because obviously that's the law. Your questions today focused on the interactions between the Biden administration and Jack Smith. Why did you choose that line of questioning?
Thank you, Jake, for your question. Let me just first start out by saying that this hallway I'm standing in, insurrectionists went through it and attacked the House floor to stop the certification of the election, and Republicans roundly criticized and condemned Donald Trump that week. It's pure hypocrisy to see the Republicans reverse a few years later. Now, to your question, I wanted to show that the Biden White House and President Biden himself did not in any way direct Jack Smith to do anything. They let Jack Smith look at the facts and to decide whether to charge Donald Trump, and he looked at the facts and he decided, I have more than enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump tried to overturn the election illegally, tried to get fake electors, and on a separate case, stole classified documents and tried to hide them.
Congressman, you just heard Congressman Brendan Gill, bring up Cassidy Hutchinson, the former Trump White House aide, her testimony. Chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, did the same. And now, just to remind people, Hutchinson spoke before the January 6 committee. Some of what she was called to testify, and this is not her fault, this is what the committee asked her to do, some of it was hearsay. Take a listen.
Did you ever confirm the president leaping across the seat, grabbing the steering wheel, this whole concoction she brought up in the January 6 hearing? Did you ever confirm that?
Right. We interviewed another firsthand witness who was in the car who did not confirm that had happened, but also
in your deposition to the committee last month, Mr. Smith, you said this: my recollection with Ms. Hutchinson was a number of the things that she gave evidence on were secondhand hearsay. You remember making that statement to us last month in the deposition?
I did, and I was referring particularly to what we're talking about now.
So just again, as a factual matter, Cassidy Hutchinson, most of what she testified about was not hearsay, and she answered the questions that were asked to her by the January 6th committee. I wonder if you think, in retrospect, it was wrong of that committee to ask her to relay stories that she didn't witness firsthand.
I don't. Jack Smith's investigation was based on multiple witnesses, and as you heard, a lot of documents, as well as video and audio tape. And just because one witness says something that may be hearsay doesn't mean another witness can't confirm that. But what we do know is 2 grand juries indicted Donald Trump based on the evidence presented to them. And what is remarkable is if you looked at Republicans today at this hearing, none of them actually disputed Jack Smith's findings. He issued an entire report, volume 1 of his report. They didn't even talk about that report. They didn't dispute that Donald Trump engaged in a conspiracy to try to get fake electors and fake documents to overturn this election.
Do you have any issues as a former prosecutor with the fact that when Jack Smith got the phone records of members of Congress, and again, that's not the content of the call, but it's the metadata, who called who, that he asked the Justice Department to not alert the members of Congress that that had been requested? Do you have any issues? Because the new Justice Department policy is that lawmakers get to be notified if their phone records are ever subpoenaed.
Right. And I just have to say, as a former prosecutor, you would never notify anyone if you're trying to get their toll records and the metadata on their phones and say, hey, by the way, we're going to send this subpoena to Verizon. Watch out for it. You would never do that. You do an investigation. You want to keep this stuff secret. So it's idiotic what these Republicans are saying. And I just bet they weren't former prosecutors, because no former prosecutor would ever do that. And by the way, I am not above the law. If someone's doing a criminal investigation and they think a member of Congress, an ordinary American, has evidence or phone records that could be important, absolutely, we should be subpoenaed just like anybody else. And the speech and debate clause is very narrow. It only applies to legislative acts. Conspiracy to overturn the election is not a legislative act.
Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu from California. Thank you, sir. Good to see you. President Trump says he had a good meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Davos earlier today. Did they make any progress in having some sort of treaty to end Russia's brutal war? CNN's Caitlin Collins just spoke with President Zelensky. She's going to join us live next. Plus, New York police minutes ago announcing 2 arrests after swastikas were painted on a playground in a largely Jewish neighborhood of New York. There's new details ahead.
There's a Harbor Freight store in your neighborhood where we sell hardworking tools that always work with any pro or